Summer ball, travel ball, showcase baseball. We're still talking about it. Let's get into it. So the last time I spoke and published a video, I had one of you guys comment on that video, and it's actually a part of a longer form video, one of these videos on summer ball, but it was a short segment, and it was talking about how you have to be very careful as a parent not to push your kids too hard. And one of our commenters, one of our subscribers, Fighters Rep, thanks so much for the comment, had a great dialogue with Fighters Rep. He asked me, he said, so are you saying that we shouldn't push our kids at all in sports? And no, that is not what I'm saying at all. And I should have probably said it a little better on the video, though I said it very well in the comments, because he and I had a very long dialogue. You have to be careful as a parent when you're pushing your kids, making sure that you're not pulling them. There's a big difference between pushing a kid towards success and pulling them. So let me kind of clarify that just a moment. When a kid has a goal, and I'm talking about kids on the big field, not littles. Littles are on the smaller field, bigs on the big field. These are when these kids are really going to need some direction, and we have a dialogue and have a discussion with them on, okay, what do you want out of this summer league? Or do you want to make the high school team? Or what do you want to do? And they tell us, no, dad, or no, mom, I want to do this. Then we have that discussion. Okay, it's going to take a lot of work, and we go down this road. And they will get off track, and we have to continuously course correct them. That's what pushing is. See, if you allow them to get too far over here, you got to bring them back. So it's a constant course correction, always moving them forward. They'll never go like this. Adults will never go like that. That's just not the way things work. So when you're pushing your kid, what you're doing is you're helping them course correct. Sometimes it's easy, and as a parent, I know sometimes it's really, really hard. But that's that course correction for what the kid has talked about in their goals and what they want out of this season or next season or where they want to go. We're pushing them, which means we're course correcting them. Pulling is different. Pulling them or dragging them toward a goal that maybe you want more. And again, I talked about this in the last video. This is typically dads, though mothers can do this too, but typically we see it with dads. When the father doesn't achieve something he wanted to achieve when he was the kid's age, oh, you got all the talent in the world, don't make the same mistakes I did. No, that now you're pulling him towards something that he is not committed to. That's what we were talking about. And to Fighters Rep, thanks so much for the comment and correcting me on that, because I think it's a better way of putting it. Pushing is course correction. Pulling is dragging them toward what you want more than they want. So we got to be careful. Are we pushing them? Are we course correcting them? Or are we dragging them to what we want out of it? So that was the point of that entire short, and I hope that cleared up. And if you have comments, disagree, agree, like, dislike, drop it down there. I will absolutely answer it and love to have dialogue and see what you all think. Okay, so we're recapping just a little bit. The last video, the long video that I put out, we talked about summer ball, travel ball, and there's two choices that you make when you're when you're trying to go to make the high school team or make the next level varsity, or maybe get to college or whatever it is. And you have to make a choice whether you want to have fun and play in what I call these adventure leagues or these adventure teams that are relatively competitive, but it's not super serious, but it is super fun. And that's where you are with your friends and with your families, and it's great fun. And travel ball does a really good job with that. Or are you trying to develop something toward a goal? Like, I want this out of my travel ball season so I can make the high school team, or to put me in position to be recruited by colleges. I need to improve on something. So we're going to dive into that development part just a little bit more on this video. And we're going to do that right now. When I coached in college, we called August, when the kids are reporting. These are the returning athletes as well as the new recruits coming in. We called August tendonitis month. And that was when everybody came in and back from their summer leagues and back from whatever league they were playing in, and everybody seemed like they had a ding or a nick or they had tendonitis or something like this. And you have to understand something, moms and dads and athletes. Summer ball is where, this is for high school and college, summer ball is where the vast majority, in my experience, of the injuries either show up as in, ooh, I hurt my arm, or start with a predisposition. And that means a little bit of a tweak, like, that didn't quite feel right. Or, I hurt my arm. And here's what we would get in college. We would get kids who would come back and say, yeah, I'm coming back in hurt. They hurt something over the summer. Or we had kids that would come in and just lie. They would just lie directly to it, knowing they did get hurt. They weren't hurt, but they had some tweaks and they kind of shut it down and they're scared to tell us. That's why the first couple weeks in any good college program, the one that is there the most is going to be the ATC and sometimes the physician. We had Dr. Jordan's, this is in Tallahassee Orthopedic Clinic, and our contract was with TOC, Tallahassee Orthopedic Clinic, and we would have several of those physicians, and there's a bunch of them out there, as well as our athletic trainer, our head trainer, Chief, Frank Ambrose. Shout out to you, Chief. You're the best, brother. But we would have them come out in those first few weeks and really put our guys through a big-time athletic diagnostic, what's called a sports performance evaluation, where they're testing both ball joints. They're testing the hips, they're testing the shoulders, and they're seeing if they're coming in. So we wouldn't believe the athlete. It's a trust and verify thing. So how was your summer, Johnny? Oh, it was great, coach. Had a good time, all that. And then they go in with Chief, and Chief's like, yeah, no, he's got a problem. He's got some instability, or he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, or he's got a little bit of an issue. We're going to have to start him later. So you can't lie to those guys. They know. The testing that they have is very sharp and very clean. But we would get guys in that would say, yeah, coach, I got hurt, or they would just lie. But the vast majority of the injuries that were reported to us in college came out of summer ball. Now, I'm telling you that to also tell you this. You have to understand, in baseball, it's a very different sport. We don't injure the muscles nearly as often as we injure soft tissues and tendons and ligaments and things like that, which don't have a great deal of blood flow. They heal very slowly. Muscle has a great deal of blood flow. If you cut into a muscle, it bleeds profusely. But if you cut through a ligament or a tendon, there's very little blood flow. In fact, really, it's more bathed in fluid. It's in a sheath, in fluid more than anything else. And it takes a long time for them to heal. They're not as elastic as muscle. They're just not as plastic as muscle. They're not as malleable as a muscle. So it takes a long time to heal. And they don't stretch. They just pop. So they don't have a lot of room to give. Where a muscle can have a little bit of a strain where you overextend the muscle and you have the little micro tears. Those heal pretty quickly. But on ligaments and tendons like this one, that UCL, if we get too much in there and you get a little bit of a tear, that's a much bigger issue because it takes so much longer to heal. And the vast majority of the guys that we would get over the summer would have these little tweaks, these little nagging tendonitis kind of things. And tendonitis is tendon and itis is swelling. But why is it swelling? Well, because there's a problem in there. There's a little bit of a tweak, and we call those predispositions. So now he makes the trainer's list, and we have to completely change through the fall how we approach the workouts for that athlete so that we give the maximum amount of time for that ligament, that connective tissue that doesn't have a whole lot of blood flow, to really stimulate it to heal. Because those predispositions, if they aren't attained to, if they're not dealt with and given the time, you can't rush it. You can come back early from a muscle pull. Some guys come back real early from it. It's really hard to come back from tendons and ligament issues. Very difficult. It takes time for them. So they're on a whole different timeline, whole different protocol, because we don't need them for the fall. We need them for the spring. So when we get guys in August, we have a plan taking us from August to December, but that plan has got all kinds of course correction in it because guys will show up from Summer League all dinged up. Now, let's talk a little bit about why they come back from Summer League all dinged up. Here's the primary reason. You report, high school and college both work off the semester system. So you've got a fall semester, you've got a spring semester, and then you're off during the summer. With these two semesters, you have a great deal of structure. Your morning classes start at X time, you're out by this time, you're in a very healthy, stable routine. Practice starts here, we practice every day. It's wash, rinse, repeat, and it's very, very stable. But in the summertime, all that's stripped away. When you go home or you're not going to high school or you're playing in the Valley League or you're playing in Cape Cod, that structure is stripped away. So now it's up to you. Now, good high school teams, which I don't know many that'll do this, but real good college teams will send their players away for the summer with not only a workout, but actually check-in sheets, check-in dates, where they need to be checking in with either a coach or a trainer or something like that, reporting what they've done, what their innings are. They'll keep track. They'll keep tabs on them. Sometimes they'll do it, like if they're playing in Cape Cod, that's easy to keep track of them. You know how many, because those games are posted online. But other leagues, like the high school leagues and things like that, there's not. So those schedules can run amok, and you can really get very quickly out of a good routine where you're not doing your stabilizations, you're not doing your recoveries, you're just kind of showing up and playing. Okay, all right, well, remember, you got to go play in college again, or you got to make the high school team again. So this is the time when that structure is removed. Athletes, if they aren't trained to not do this or given a program, they'll just downshift right to that path of least resistance and show up barely on time and late, not stretch. You're gonna get hurt. It is a near certainty you're gonna get hurt, because that's when they all happen, or that's when the stage is set with those little tweaks and those predispositions to happen at a different season. Summer ball has to maintain, it doesn't have to be the same structure, but you cannot skip your stabos. You cannot skip your stabilization routine. You cannot skip recovery. If you're going to skip something, don't lift weights. Don't lift. But never skip stabilization and never skip recovery. Those are really the two things. If you take anything away from this video that you're watching now, let it be this. When that structure is removed, you're still doing your pregame stabilizations and you're still doing your recovery protocols. Never, those are non-negotiables. Never, ever, ever skip those during the summer. Okay, now in the summer program, we talk about the structure is kind of stripped away, and one of the other things that is a little bit wild, wild westy is the schedule itself. And the schedule is tough because in the summer, all over the country in the United States, it's rainy season. So what summer leagues will do is they will schedule far more games than they can play, because they know they're going to get rained out. So with that absence of day-to-day structure, get up, go to morning class, eat lunch, go to practice, recover, go home, do it again the next day, do it again the next day. The game schedule is also thrown off. In high school, you're going to typically play 3 games a week. They're all going to be on relatively the same days. And you're in college, you're going to play between 3 and 5. And it's pretty much, you're going to have the weekend set, Friday through Sunday. In high school, Sundays are off, and in college, Mondays are off. Mondays are your day that you're off in college. But in summer, that's all wonky. That's all over the place. So you may get rained out, and they're stacking games, and they're they're making up games, and they'll run, instead of a 9, a 9, and a 9, they'll have a washout and run 2 7s and a doubleheader and another 9. So you have to make sure that you're not, I'm telling you that to tell you this, you have to create some balance in there and there'll never be balance in a summer schedule, but you're going to have to make sure that you're not overexposed. That's the big thing. Because of that schedule of games being all over the place with the rainouts, you've got to endure the chaotic schedule, but you can't overexpose yourself. Here's an example. Starting pitchers. You guys get all thrown off. Now you're on a 3-day rest, and now you got a 7-day rest. Closers, they'll usually limit when you're out of the pen, whether you're a closer, setup guy, middle relief, or whatever. They'll try not to ever throw you on 3 days in a row. You should never throw 3 days in a row out of the pen. Never, ever, 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 ever in summer league, ever. You should never do it in college or high school, but you get into tournament time, that's a little bit different. But 3 days in a row out of the pen, absolutely not. 2 days, that's expected. Now, how you extend yourself, did you have a 15-pitch outing and then the next day had a 40-pitch outing? So you have to be real careful. And this really affects more the pitchers than the players. But the pitchers especially, you have to try to limit your exposure. And here's what I want you to do. Ask for a day off. Tell them you got to go to work. Tell them you got to help your grandmother move. They're going to be coaching Summer League for 10 more years. You've got 5 to play 4. We've talked about this many times. 4 years in high school, not moving up, and 4 in pro ball, they're moving you out. You have to limit your exposure. And moms and dads can be really helpful on this one. You can, if you're not comfortable talking to the coach, asking for a day off, or you're not comfortable fibbing or lying, then have your parent be the ogre. So you'll have, Mom, I need a day off. You gotta. So in the summer league, in college, we don't talk to parents typically a great deal. We'll talk to parents, not a great deal. In high school, that's a very tenuous relationship. But in summer ball, if a parent calls, hey, I got Johnny, he's got to work next Saturday. Oh, we need him for the game. Sorry, got to do it. Nothing to do. So make your parents be the ogre. So you can limit your exposure, so you can create as much consistency. It's hard, I get it, I know. It is a very chaotic time, but you want to limit your exposure during the summer. You're not going to leap forward in a development league in 8 weeks. You're not. It's an incremental growth. So you can't have an expectation of coming into a summer league and you hit 200 here and you expect to hit 800 here, or you threw 85 miles an hour here, and by the end of the summer you're throwing 95. Not happening. Don't try. Don't even do that. What you're going to do is you're going to try to create some balance in there, some consistency to allow your game to grow. Your execution, the velocity is going to come over the innings. You don't have to push yourself and play all 60 of these games. Don't worry about it. So try to build in there where you've got a parent that's helping you, or you can tell the coach directly, look, man, I need a day off. I cannot throw. Nobody's playing for a ring anyway. It's just summer league. It's just a developmental league. If it's developmental, they should be able to say, not a problem. Take Saturday and Sunday off. We'll see you on Monday. So remember, it's a developmental league. You don't have to play every day, but you do have to communicate with the coach and tell him what's going on with you. You need a day off? Find a way to get a day off. So we talk about these developmental programs, developmental summer ball, and when you're trying to get better, there's two schools. When you're at the higher levels, and this goes a little bit also for high school, there's leagues where you go to develop something. For example, if you're a college player, you're a high school player, and you're playing in a developmental program where you're getting a lot of ground balls, it's not just games all the time, you're getting practice time, and you're an outfielder, but you're going to have to learn how to play first base. You're a infielder, but you know that you're going to need to also add third base to your repertoire. You're a catcher, you're going to also have to learn how to play first base. So in these developmental leagues, it's not just getting better at your position, even though that's many of the guys that are out there. A lot of the guys out there in these developmental leagues are trying to add something because maybe the coach has told them, like, look, we're going to move you to third base next year. So over the summer, you need to get a bunch of reps in at third, or we're going to platoon you with somebody else behind the plate, but we need help at first base. I need you to. So you use that summer when your coach is talking to you on the expectation of coming back that you're adding something to the game. Now, certainly, developing your game, becoming a better hitter or a better pitcher, a better fielder, always there. But in many cases, you're learning another position, or you're trying to transition to do something else, or you're moving from the bullpen to a starting role. So these are conversations you're going to have with your coach, whether you're in college or you're in high school, when you're trying to develop something in your exit interview. You should always have an exit interview. That's the spring when the season's over, before everybody goes home. Sometimes it's an exit interview on the bus with everybody, just on the drive back. But how'd you do? What your expectation is, what they want out of you next year, what's going on, so that you know going into the summer what the expectations are and what you need to work on to either improve or maintain. Or sometimes we've had conversations with guys like, look, I want you played 2 summers in a row. You need to take this summer off. Go to the beach, go fishing. You are exhausted. You need time off. Take the summer off, come back fresh. So it'll all depend on that exit interview, but there are guys that are trying to work on their game. Then there's guys that are trying to add something to their game. So that's a little bit of their goal. Now you've also got show leagues. So the show leagues are like, I'll use Cape Cod because that's the gold standard for college. And that's the easy one. You're not developing anything at Cape Cod. You're not developing anything in these showcase leagues. And high school has these leagues too. What you're showcasing in these, and this is not a showcase season, this is showcase leagues. Again, we'll go back to Cape Cod. You're trying to compete against the absolute best at that level, so you can show now, and it's not area scouts so much as it is more the national guys and cross-checkers. They're building their draft boards. They're building their to-watch list. They're seeing guys they saw last year. Is he better? Did he work? Is the breaking ball better? Is he hitting the ball the other way better? And they're really evaluating players in these longer leagues over a long period of time, because in pro ball, and certainly in college for these high school showcase leagues as well, we look for winning. Winning. That's what we're looking for. We want head-to-head matchups, best on best, and who wins. Here's a big mistake guys will make in these show leagues. There's top guys in the show leagues, and there's guys at the bottom, and they're good players, don't get me wrong, but there's top guys in here too. And the top guys will end up just cranking home runs off these lower guys, the guys that are, I wouldn't say second tier players, but not those number one alpha dogs. No one cares about that. That's great. That's super great. But I want to see dog on dog. All the scouts that I work with, all the college coaches I work with, they'll have certain games that they circle. That guy against this guy, that's what I want to see. They want to see winning. That's what they want to see. So I'm telling you that to tell you this. When you're playing in these showcase leagues, that structure that I was talking about a bit ago, where you're doing your stabilization and you're doing your recovery, is critical, so you're showing really well. And remember, you come out of the season doing your individual drills, all those mundane little position drills, like the infielders are doing your mitt action drills. Your outfielders are doing your box drills or your route drills or whatever we want to call it. Your catchers are doing your pregame. That must continue. Now, you don't do the full set because it's hot during the summer, but you still have to go through that because they're watching the way you prepare for the game. You step onto a showcase league, they know you're there. They're watching as much of you play on the field as what you're doing in the dugout, how you're going to get a foul ball, what you're doing at night. They're watching absolutely everything, because remember, these guys, if they recruit you to come to college, they don't want to police you. They want those that discipline and all those skills like resiliency and teamwork. They want those to be in place. They don't want to have to teach you that. They want to teach you how to play at the next level. Pro ball, the last thing they want to do is police guys. They'll just get rid of you. They won't spend the money on it, because next year there's going to be another 1,000 guys that they're going to be pulling up. And everybody in pro ball is tradable and replaceable. So you have to understand they are watching everything. Are you doing your stabilization? Are you still doing your individual, your indie drills? Are you recovering? How are you as a teammate? How do you move on and off the field? What's your attitude? Like, everything in these showcase summer leagues is being watched. So you need to know that going in. Now let's talk a little goal setting on how we set goals in the summer. We'll do some topics on fall goal setting, spring goal setting, and summer goal setting. If you're playing in a developmental program, a developmental league, and that's what we're talking about here on this particular episode, these leagues, you have to go into it saying, okay, what am I going to work on? So if I'm just going to go build my game, we've already talked about, Johnny, I need you to learn how to catch, or Johnny, I need you to learn how to play first base or third base. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just improving your game. Pitching, hitting, defense. What do you need to work on? Specifically, what do you need to work on? Do you need to hit with more power? Do you need to hit better spots? Do you need to work on your backhand? What specifically in your game, the one thing, maybe one thing offensively, one thing defensively if you're a position player, and then if you're a pitcher, really it's just the one thing. The best thing you could work on to improve. Pitchers, typically it's command. That's the thing that most pitchers really need to work on. No one cares about strikeouts and stats in summer league. No one cares, okay? In fact, I'll talk about that in a second. But the point is, in the summer, you want to be extremely efficient as a pitcher. So what's your 3-pitch cluster? Was your three pitch cluster, if you don't know what that is, your first 3 pitches need to be 2 strikes and 1 ball. It doesn't matter the order it comes in. It doesn't matter the pitch that's thrown. Could be fastball, fastball, fastball. Could be fastball, curveball, fastball. Could be strike, strike, ball, ball, strike, ball. Doesn't matter. But your first 3 pitches, that's called a cluster, at 60% of the time need to be 2 strikes and 1 ball. That shows command, and it's 60% of the time, okay? You need that. So you're commanding the strike zone. You're in charge of that at bat. Leadoff hitter, outs. Strike to walk ratio. These are a couple other stats that you want to look at. You don't have to go super granular. You just need to look at something as a pitcher and go, I need to improve on this. Now what you then take is all of your bullpens, all your flat ground work, everything is focused on improving that one thing. So let's say your exit interview from college or high school, they want you to be, because you led counts with balls too often. So maybe your coach is a leadoff hitter out guy. Maybe that's the stat that he likes. He doesn't care about cluster. He doesn't care about strike to walk ratio. He wants leadoff hitter outs. And maybe you were leadoff hitter out at 40%. You could only get the guy out at 40%. Let's get that to 60. So then, okay, I'm going to spend my summer getting my leadoff hitter out stat up to 60%. So all your work that you do in and around the field go to support that one thing you're trying to develop. So again, the flat ground work, long toss, and even long tossing, all of that is about getting ahead of that hitter. If you play offense and you're trying to, let's say your coach, you didn't hit the ball away effectively at all. You could pull it great, not a problem, but the scouting report's out on you, spin this guy away. So when you're working in the cage and you're working on your individual hitting stuff and you're working on all of that stuff, you're working on hitting the ball away. Maybe you're hitting the ball away just fine, but you can't pull the ball. You see where I'm going with this? So pick one thing. If you're developing over the season, over that summer, out of that exit interview, and honestly, if you don't get an exit interview, look at your stats. God, I sucked at leadoff hitter acquisition or leadoff hitter outs. I was terrible. Or if you're a hitter, it's like, yep, man, they threw me a slider. I'm grounding it out. There's nothing I can really do with that. So then when you're in these developmental programs, these developmental leagues, pick one thing, the top thing that you can improve over your game. And then have somebody help you track it. Have somebody have a little, and they're just notes on your phone. You can take your phone and have a buddy do it on his phone, just notes, that kind of thing. Doesn't have to be super, I wouldn't say organized, but doesn't have to be super rigid. You can still be loose about it, but work on improving an aspect of your game that will benefit you in the fall and in the spring. Last thing right now, we're going to wrap this up. This is a lot more for the moms and dads. Moms and dads, do not bring summer statistics forward. Oh, he did great over the summer. He did awesome in this summer league, so he should definitely make the fall and make the JV team or make the varsity team. Look, coach, and show him the stat book. I will take that stat book and I will throw it in the garbage. Summer stats don't matter. And if you show summer ball stats to a good high school coach, you're going to make the wrong list, or you're going to put your kid on the wrong list. We have two lists that are going on our head. We have this list and we have the other list. He's going to be on the other list because of you. No one cares about summer stats. Here's why. Coaches understand summer ball is very much the Wild Wild West. It is disorganized. I shouldn't say that. It's not as structured. I'll put it that way. You've got a bunch of rainouts. You've got guys that'll play for 2 weeks and they'll change teams, and guys come in and leave, and there's no rules to the whole thing, and nobody's playing for a culminating event. There's no tournament at the end. And Little League World Series aside, we're talking about the big, so big field guys. There's no big thing at the end. There's nothing to win. So here's what will end up happening. A parent will bring those stats into the coach, and you have a kid, it was a freshman on the JV that hit a $120, and they look what he did this summer, coach. This is great. He hit 500 with 6 home runs. Oh, he did he? He hit 500 with 6 home runs, but on the JV last year, he didn't hit his weight. What is that telling the coach? What's that telling that guy? He's not gonna call BS on your stats. He's gonna call BS on that league that he played in. You put him in a league that he could dominate and show how good he's doing. You're not fooling anybody. In fact, you're pissing them off. Don't do that. Who's pitching in these leagues? And by the way, make sure you take this with you, moms and dads. When you talk about home runs on the big field, you have to understand something, that inside the park home runs don't count. We don't count those. Those are not home runs. Those are singles with 3 base errors or double with 2 base errors or whatever it is. We don't count those. If you bring, little Johnny hit 500, had 6 home runs. How many of those home runs went over the fence? None? Yeah, none. So now you can probably gaslight and BS a crappy coach, but good coaches, they won't say anything. They'll say, oh, that's great. Super good. Well, you know what? He's got a chance to compete with everybody else. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Da, da, da. And then once you walk off, he's going to go, in his mind, you're on this list now. I'm now looking for a reason to let you go. Because your mama or your father or whoever is trying to push the player on me. The player must earn. always, summer stats don't matter. Don't bring them up. Nobody cares about what you did over the summer. It's only what you do during those fall tryouts and in the spring. The summer is to set you up so you can go improve stuff. Leave the stat book in the dugout. Forget it. It never happened. It's just preparing you to go be noticed or show off a skill, or this is when the coach comes up and say, "Hey Johnny, wow, you hit a $125 for me on JV last year." And by the way, yes, we know all of them, okay? You showed up in the fall at tryouts. You're a different hitter now. You put on some size. You were really swinging the bat well. I look forward to it. Because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something that's noticeable. We saw him last year. Now we want something that's noticeably different. If mommy is pushing these stats on and I don't notice anything different, you're on this list and I'm looking for a reason to get rid of you. So leave the summer stat book alone. Don't talk about it anymore.